A long time ago, there lived a family called the Okoli family in a small village named Ndiolu. The family was made up of a man called Obunike, his wife Makwachi, and their only daughter, a daughter named Ijoma. They were not rich, but they were happy. Obunike tapped palm wine for a living, and Makwachi sold food in the market. Ijema helped with house chores and went to school when they could afford it. She was quiet and neat and very beautiful. Even as a young girl, people noticed her tall figure and her smooth skin. Many people in the village liked the Okoli family because they were peaceful and kind. But one day, everything changed. Obunike went to the bush to tap palm wine, like he always did. That day, he didn't come back. The next morning, villagers found him under a tree. He had fallen and died. Makwachi was heartbroken. She cried every day and stopped eating. After some months, she became very sick. No herbs worked, and she passed away too. Ijema was only 12 years old when she had lost her both parents. Who would take care of her after that? After the burial, the elders in Ndiolu gathered under the village tree to talk. "She's still a child," one said. "She cannot live alone," another added. They talked for a long time and finally decided that Ijema should go and live with her father's younger brother, Uncle Nwafugo. Nwafugo was not excited about it. He was not a kind man, but he accepted because he didn't want people to talk. She would help around the house anyway. He would say, "Shada one is enough." And that is how Ijema moved into her uncle's house. But what waited for her there was no love or comfort. It was hard work, insults, and a life that made her cry in the secret. Uncle Nwafugo lived with his wife, Oriako, and their 3 children, Obidike, Chimamanda, and Uchechi. Their house was bigger than Ijema's old house. It had 4 rooms, a small kitchen at the back, and a big compound with goats and chickens walking around. But even with all that space, there was no room for Ijema. When she arrived with her small nylon bag, Oriako looked at her from head to toe and frowned. "This is the child?" she asked. Nwafugo nodded. "She will be out helping around the house. She's not here to eat and rest now." That same day, they gave Ijema a small mat and told her she would be sleeping near the kitchen. On the cold cement floor, there was no mosquito net, no blankets, just the mat, 1 wrapper, and a broken plastic pocket for her clothes. She was 12. She didn't complain. Every morning before anyone else woke up, Ijoma would get up and sweep the compound. Then she would fetch water from the stream with a yellow jerry can. After that, she would wash the plates from the night before, clean the kitchen, and start preparing breakfast, even if she wasn't allowed to eat much. Sometimes, she only got the boiled part of yam and the leftover part. If the children made a mess, she cleaned it. If something went wrong, they blamed her. If visitors came, she stayed outside. No one knew how she felt. She wore old clothes she used, which belonged to Chimamanda, faded, torn, and too tight for her growing body. But even with the hardship, Ijoma's beauty did fade. She was growing taller. Her waist became smaller. Her face was sharp. Her walk became gracious without her even knowing. Villagers started to notice her. But that was also when Oriako began to change. Oriako did not like the way people looked at Ijema. "She's too proud," she said one day. walking around like she's the queen. She didn't even say anything. Nwafugo replied, not even looking up from his food. That's how it starts, Oriakụ snapped. I will not let this girl come into this house and disgrace me with pregnancy. Oh. From that day, she made Ijema's life even harder. She started giving her leftover bath water. She made her wash clothes for the whole family, and sometimes late into the night. She slapped her for small things and shouted if Ijema was seen laughing with boys, even from afar. Ijema became more quiet, but inside her, she started keeping her pain like folded clothes, neat, quiet, but heavy. Before her parents died, Ijema was doing well in school. She loved reading and could speak and write English better than many of her mates. But when she moved in with her uncle, she stopped. There was no money for that, Nwafugo said. She can't be wasting her time in the classroom when there's work to do at home, Oriakụ added. So Ijoma stayed home every day, working from morning till night. When other children went to school in uniform, she watched from the compound, holding broom or firewood. But she never forgot what it felt like to learn. At night, when everyone was asleep, she would sit near the kitchen light with a piece of old newspaper and try to read. She would sound out words softly, whispering it like it was a prayer. One afternoon, while fetching water, Ijema met a girl named Adanne, who had just moved into the village from Enugu. Her father was a retired civil servant, and her family built a nice house near the stream. Adanne was friendly, soft-spoken, and always carried storybooks. You don't go to school? She asked Ijema one day. No, Ijema said, but I used to before. Adanne smiled. Maybe you can borrow my books, you can read, right? Ijema's face lit up. From then on, whenever she had time, usually at night, she would read Adanne's books under the kitchen bulb. There were small novels and short stories with big drama. But Ijema was eager to learn. She even started writing new words in the tiny notebook she found in Obidike's school bag. She didn't know it yet, but slowly, Ijema was building something inside her. Hope. One market day, it was on a Sunday morning, Ijema followed Oriakụ to the village market. She helped her carry firewood and then beat her leaf to sell. While Oriakụ was talking with her friends, a group of men walked by. Among them was Prince Zikora, the first son of the king. He was in the market to buy something for his mother. He wore a simple white shirt and a black slippers, but everybody noticed him because of his neatness and his calm face. As they walked past, Prince Zikora's eyes stopped on Ijema. She was tying firewood together. Her wrapper covered her dust, but her face was cleaning and shining with sweat. He looked again. Oriakụ saw it. She grabbed Ijema's arm roughly. Face down, she snapped, "Don't be looking at people like that." Ijema didn't understand what was going on, but from that day, Oriakụ became even more wicked. She stopped allowing her to the market, but Zikora remembered her face. A few months after the market day, life went on in Ndiolu. Rains came, dry season followed, but in the palace, Prince Zikora had not forgotten the girl with dusty feet and a quiet beauty. One evening, during a family dinner, the king had asked Zikora, "When will you bring a girl home? Your younger brother is already planning for marriage." Zikora smiled. The queen, Nneka, who was known for her sharp tongue with high standards, raised an eyebrow. "He's still looking, but I hope he brings someone with sense," class, and a good background. Zikora dropped his spoon and said softly, "There is someone I met in the market months ago." The queen sat up. "Who is she?" Zikora's answer came like a quiet thunder. "She's not from a known family. She's an orphan. But she has dignity. I haven't spoken to her, but I want to find her." The queen almost dropped her cup. Zikora called one of the palace guards, Obumneme, and described Ijema as best as he could. Obumneme asked around the market, then the stream, and finally found someone who knew the girl who matched the description. The girl that fetched water every early morning, and the one that never talked much, the one who lived with her wicked uncle. That was how word reached Ijema. She was confused. Why would the prince be asking for her? She had done nothing, but inside her heart something fluttered. When Zikora finally approached her at the stream, she almost dropped her jerrycan. "Ijema, right?" he asked gently. She nodded, eyes wide. "I have been trying to find you. Can we talk?" They started talking near the stream, under the trees, beside the market road. Zikora brought her books. Ijoma opened her mind. He found her thoughts sharp, her heart deeper than the village gossipers knew. She still spoke softly, sometimes shyly, but her words were careful and thoughtful. Zikora was drawn to her simplicity. One day he said the words that took her life. "I want to marry you." Ijoma looked at him like he was mad. "Me? I'm just me." He smiled. "Exactly. That is why." When Prince Zikora told his parents, the king sat quietly. But the queen stood like someone who had been insulted. "Never!" she shouted. "You will not marry a girl who came from nowhere. No name, no family, just raised by kitchen rats." Zikora didn't fight. He simply said, "Let her come and stay in the palace for 1 moon. If you feel like the same again about her, I won't ask to marry her anymore." The king agreed. The queen reluctantly nodded. When Ijema arrived, she felt like she was walking into another world. Gold plates, shiny floor, guards at every door. For the first time in her life, she had her own bed, her own bathroom, and clothes that weren't torn or borrowed. But she also had enemies, mainly the queen and her royal servants. The queen gave her impossible tasks: carry baskets of yam, wash royal clothes, serve food at odd hours. It was meant to humiliate her. But Ijema did everything without complaining. She greeted everyone. She made no enemies. She learned palace rules quickly and never overstepped. One night, the queen called her privately and said, "You think this is a game? You can clean plates, but you will never wear a crown. My son will never marry you." Ijoma bowed low. "I didn't come here for the crown. I came because your son asked me to come. And if after I stay and you guys don't like me, I will go back and continue my life." That reply made the queen pause. One afternoon, while the queen's youngest daughter was playing near the stream, she slipped and fell into the deep water. The guards panicked. Ijema, who was nearby, ran and jumped in without thinking. She couldn't swim well, but she had the child above the water until help came. She almost drowned, but saved the princess. When they brought them back to the palace, wet and shaking, the queen rushed forward. "Ah, my daughter, my child." She held her daughter, then looked at Ijema, who was coughing on the floor, lips purple from the cold. For the first time, the queen didn't see a nobody. She saw a girl who risked her life without thinking, a girl of honor, a girl who didn't ask, "Who will help me?" She just helped others. That night, the queen knocked softly on Ijema's door. You saved her life, she said. Ijema nodded weakly. I was wrong about you, the queen whispered. Thank you. A moon later, the palace drums began to beat. Invitations were sent to all nearby villages. People who once looked down on Ijema now wore fine clothes to dance at her wedding. She wore a white gold wrapper and beads on her neck and a glowing smile that came from deep healing. The girl who used to sleep near the kitchen now sat beside the prince. When Zikora lifted her veil, he whispered, You still look like the girl from the stream. Ijoma smiled. And you still look like trouble. Hey besties, we have come to the end of this very interesting story. Let me know your thoughts about the story in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the story to your friends, and click on the notification bell so you will never miss on whenever I post a new story. Till I come your way next time. Bye.